Hello, Anne. I hope I'm not interrupting your dinner or anything. Do you have a little time to talk?
Oh, hi, Dad. We just finished dinner. Just sitting around watching TV. What's the matter? Can I help you with something? I hope it's nothing serious.
No, nothing like that. I just wanted to know what you're doing tomorrow. You and David are going to be home, aren't you? It's Friday, and I thought maybe you guys might be home.
Yeah, David's back for a meeting at the head office on Monday, so he's returned today to spend the weekend together. As you know, he's assigned to the East Coast office until that project gets off the ground, so he wanted to relax at home for a change. He's scheduled back east on Tuesday.
I sort of wanted to see my son, too. Would it be a bother if I stopped in tomorrow? I know you want to spend time with him, but just for a little while, perhaps?
Do you plan to come alone? I mean, I just want to know because I would need to prepare lunch.
Yeah, that's thoughtful of you. Thank you. And you know, David hates it when his mother gets too possessive and starts doting over him. She tends to do that. To be honest, David called me and made me a promise not to tell her that he was returning.
Right. We were just talking about that, as a matter of fact. He also made me swear not to mention a word about his return.
Yes, well, I had to lie to her. I told her I was seeing an old friend who happened to be in town, and that I was driving over to have lunch with him. I sort of feel bad lying to her, but I really have no choice. Actually, I'm really seeing this friend, so it's not if I'm really lying. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. That's way better. I'll talk to David later so we can get our stories straight, just in case.
Yeah, thanks. Better to be on the safe side just in case. Okay, so tomorrow I plan to meet up with my friend in the morning, and then I will head over. Is 1 p.m. or so alright with you guys?
Yeah, no problem. I'll have lunch ready for you. I bet you're excited to see your son.
Yes, certainly am. Okay, Anne. See you tomorrow.
Hello, Anne. Are you there? Pick up, would you please? I want you to clean the house tomorrow, and I won't take no for an answer. So what I want you to do is take the day off and drive over here at noon or so. Please start with the living room. It needs a good vacuuming. Excuse me? This is all kind of sudden, isn't it? I said no excuses. You have your car, right? Pick up some floor cleaner on your way here, would you? We're out. After you're done cleaning, I need you to go out and do some grocery shopping. I have to replenish some big item stuff. Case of bottled water and a case of canned soup. I've got a whole list here. And you know I have a bad back, so help me out here, would you? I'm sorry, but I just can't make it tomorrow. I already made an important appointment. I really can't change it. What did I just say? I said I will not take no for an answer. Besides, what's more important than helping out your husband's mother when she's in trouble? You better get your priorities straight, Anne. Well, my priority tomorrow is that I have an important schedule that I cannot change no matter what. I'm afraid you're going to have to take that no for an answer. End of story. But I'm willing to help you out on another day, but as for tomorrow, it's not going to happen. I'm really sorry about that. I'm just asking you to do a little cleaning and shopping for me, for Pete's sake. That's the least you can do for your mother. Mother? Where do you think I live? You're at least an hour and a half drive away. I can't just pop over there and do the cleaning and shopping and pop back home again. It would take the entire day. Am I hearing you right? What's an hour and a half drive anyway? That's nothing. You know what people call women like you. They call people like you foot draggers. A lazy bum is what you are. I just cannot understand why David even married you. How can you act this way towards your mother-in-law? No matter what you say, Mother, I'm not changing my schedule, and that's that. No further discussion required. Goodbye.
Anne, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, Dad. How about you?
Yeah, not too bad. Just finished meeting with my friend. I'm on my way there now. I should get there in about 20 minutes. No change of plans, I hope?
No changes. Just be careful driving over here. The traffic seems a bit heavy today. No need to pick up anything on the way. We're all set for lunch. Anne, where the hell are you? I thought you would be cleaning the living room about now. I always knew you were lazy, but I didn't realize you were this much of a good-for-nothing slacker. I waited all morning for you. I never thought you would defy me so blatantly. There are consequences for your insubordinate attitude. You do realize that, I hope. The living room still needs vacuuming, and you still have to pick up all those items at the grocery store. The store's not going to be open all night. I want this done today. This is the job of the daughter-in-law. You must get over here right this minute and get to work. I want you here in 30 minutes, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You hear me, Anne? There will be consequences if you disobey me. As punishment for defying me and not showing up as I asked, you are going to have to prepare dinner tonight, too. And I'm not talking about slapping a ham and cheese sandwich together. A proper dinner, you got that? Mother, are you finished? You were going on, and I couldn't get a text in edgewise. I thought I told you I wasn't going over there. I have another important appointment that I cannot cancel. I thought you understood. And I thought I told you to give your mother-in-law priority above all others, didn't I? I said my answer was no. And I wanted no further discussion about it. What is so hard to understand about that? You really are one cheeky woman, Anne. And to think that my dear son, my precious David, married you, what was he thinking? You're just a deadbeat wife, you know what, Anne? I want you to divorce my son and disappear from our family forever. That's what I want from you. Mom, I would refrain from such name-calling if I were you. It's not as if we're simply talking face-to-face. All this is recorded and saved. Name-calling, huh? I'm being kind. I have worse things I want to call you, but I'm holding back. Besides, what I'm doing is providing discipline to a disobedient daughter-in-law. That's what I'm doing. I may name-call on occasion, but it's for your own good. Okay, whatever, but I should tell you that your husband is furious. My husband? What are you talking about? He's not even here today. He's off meeting some old friend that's in town.
Caroline, what is wrong with... What is this all about, for God's sake? I wish you would put a stop to all of this. Why do you have to treat Anne so horribly? What did she ever do to you?
Is that you, Robert? What is this? Why are you texting me?
I'm over here at Anne and David's place right now. Anne showed me what you've been saying to her. What is this? A lazy, deadbeat wife? Really? How could you say such things to Anne?
What? You're at David's place now? Why?
David came back for a few days. Apparently, he has a meeting at the office on Monday. He wanted to spend time with Anne over the weekend. I heard he was here, so on my way back from meeting my friend, I stopped in to say hello.
Pardon me, David is back? He's home now? Why didn't anybody tell me? What's going on here? This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Yeah, of course you haven't. I kept it from you. I didn't want you to know.
If only you had told me, I would have gone with you today. How could you not tell me, Robert? If I had known, I could have gone over there and provided Anne with the discipline that she needs to become a better housewife. Why didn't you tell me, Robert?
You want to know why I didn't tell you, dear? That's because David asked me not to tell you.
Huh? David asked you not to tell me? How can that be? Why would he do a thing like that?
You really don't get it, do you, Caroline? Don't you see what you're doing?
Get Get what? What are you talking about? What do I not get, Robert?
It's the fact that David is keeping his distance from you. He's avoiding having to deal with you.
Keeping his distance? Did he say that? That he wants to avoid dealing with me, but why? I don't believe you, Robert. Why would my dear son want to avoid me, his own mother? I brought him up. I adored and doted on him since he was just a baby. I devoted my life to my son. How could such dedication and love not get through to him? How could he not feel the love I feel toward him?
That's exactly what he finds intolerable. That fanatical devotion you have towards him. But is it really love? Isn't it just arrogance? A form of narcissism? I really wish you would wake up and smell the coffee.
How dare you say that to me, Robert? How about you? What have you done? Tell me, Robert, as a father, what have you done for David that was so great? Did you shower him with love like I have all these years?
As David's father, I think I've done what's necessary. I know that I'm always here for him when he needs me, and I would do anything for him if asked.
Pardon me, that's all? That you're there for him? I could say the same.
Well, let me give you 2 examples of what I mean. The first example is David introduced me to his best friend, an old classmate of his from college.
Excuse me, his best friend? What's that have to do with anything?
It has everything to do with it, Caroline. His best friend, Daniel. You know Daniel, right?
Wait, Daniel? Are you talking about that Daniel? He's that parentless boy, that orphan, that Daniel? I told him not to associate with him. He is not of our caliber.
That's the one. You do remember him, don't you?
How could he be David's best friend? You must be mistaken. You know that people like that, kids who grow up without parents, don't amount to much.
Well, that Daniel that you so abhor, he's currently the CEO of a major corporation. A corporation that generates over $1 billion a year.
No, that can't be. Not that orphan.
He graduated from a top university all on his own. Finished at the top of his class right after he graduated. He started his own company and in no time built it to what it is today. When David first met him, he told me that I knew Daniel would go far, that he'd succeed beyond anyone's wildest dreams. And he was right. Unlike you, David has a good eye for people. He knew Daniel would make a name for himself someday. He had no doubt in his mind.
That Daniel? That parentless young man? He runs $1 billion company. He's the CEO of this company? Are you serious?
And the second example. This concerns Anne, David's wife and your daughter-in-law. David introduced me to her 2 years before they even got married. He told me that he was in love with her and was seriously thinking about marrying her.
He introduced Anne to you 2 years before they got married?
That's right. At the time, he told me he was going to introduce you to Annie right before getting married. As I recall, it was like 2 or 3 months before, wasn't it? He was sure you'd kick up a fuss and would totally reject the marriage outright.
Is that why he rejected that nice woman that I was going to introduce to him back then? It was because he was already going out with Anne? He was already planning to marry her? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. And who was this woman you were going to introduce him to anyways?
You know her too. It's Sandy. From when he was in high school. You remember her.
Wait a second, Caroline. That's Sandy? Are you out of your mind?
Why are you so shocked? I worked with her at the mall. She's so nice and very energetic and friendly. She would have been perfect for David. Did you know that their father is a company president? Sandy is much more suited for David than Anne. Wasn't her father just some company clerk or something? I never really asked her.
You're forgetting one thing, Caroline. I heard that this Sandy has 3 kids, and she's not even married, for God's sake. On top of that, They aren't even sure who the father is. And you wanted David to marry this girl?
But pardon me, where did you hear that?
Not only does she have 3 kids, she's been divorced twice. I heard that her parents are so fed up that they're not even talking anymore.
Is that true? You're not making that up, are you? I had no idea Sandy had...
Everybody knows everybody around the area. Where have you been? I'm surprised one of your lady friends weren't gossiping about it. Your discriminatory views are apparent, Caroline. You only look at things superficially.
How could you say that? Are you saying that I'm prejudiced? That was not my intention.
I'm so glad that David has an eye for people. He knows good people when he sees them. If we had left it up to you to decide who David should marry, I'm sure he would have suffered the consequences. I'm glad he defied you and made his own decisions. His life would have been very different.
I thought only of his happiness. I thought it was best for him, that's all.
We really got off track, haven't we? I suspected that you probably had ill will towards Anne and probably call her a name or two. But this? Are you serious, Caroline? How could you call her such despicable names?
Like I was saying, this was merely part of disciplining her. She'll never be a good housewife if she's not taught proper manners.
Lazy deadbeat wife is going a little too far, isn't it? You come off as a hateful bully is all. David is standing right here next to me. He's in total agreement. You've gone too far, Caroline.
No, this can't be. David wouldn't feel that way toward me. I'm going to head home pretty soon. You will be home, I hope?
We need to sit down and talk, Caroline. We need to discuss our future.
Discuss our future? What are you talking about?
10 years ago, I was forced to accept defeat because of your reaction. Your total hysteria. But this time, I've had it. There are just too many complications involved this time. I cannot ignore it any longer. Unlike 10 years ago, my mind is set. There is no one who is going to change my mind. You can become enraged all you want. Become hysterical all you want. My decision is final.
Huh? What do you mean, final? Are you serious, Robert? Anne, where are you? Where did you disappear to, for Pete's sake? I want you to reply right this second. This is an emergency. Where have you gone? Oh, hello, Mother. What can I do for you? You seem kinda upset. There's nobody here. Where have you disappeared to? Oh, I see what this is about. So you did go to our house. Robert was right after all. He advised us to move out as soon as possible. I was a little reluctant at first, but he was right after all. I'm glad I took his advice. My husband's advice? What are you talking about? No, Caroline. He's no longer your husband. Shut your mouth! This is all his fault. All Robert's fault. He just could not comprehend the love and consideration that I devoted to David. Unlike my husband, I was always thinking of my precious son. Always. But David will come around one day. I know it. He'll look back and understand all that I did for him. I see you have not come to grips with what you did, have you? After that harsh condemnation that Robert gave you, and you still don't understand? What more do we have to do to make you see? What do you know? You have no right to lecture me. You've only been with David for 3 or 4 years. I brought him into this world and raised him to the man he is. You will never understand the bond, the almost 30 years that I spent with him. It's a never-ending, eternal bond. It was David, your devoted son, that suggested that we move and relocate. More accurately, he made the decision to take me to his current place of employment. He put in a transfer to the position back east. He wants to make it permanent, and the company agreed. You're moving there? To his current office? Seriously? What about your own job? Did you quit? No, of course not. I was permitted to work remote, so I can work from anywhere now. Very convenient, actually. I see. Well, then I will pack some things and be over there by the end of the week. I don't think so, Caroline. The address over here is not the one you were told. That was a company dorm. We found a more permanent place. What? You found a new place already? Where is this new place? I'm sorry, but I'm not permitted to divulge that information. After all, we moved in order to get away from you, so why would we tell you? You're trying to pull David and I apart! All I'm doing is obeying David's requests. As his wife, I have to obey his every command, right? Isn't that what you always told me? I can't believe that. David would never do that. You're hiding it from me. David will tell me, I'm sure of it. Okay, whatever. Think how you like. I really don't care if you believe me or not, to be honest. But if you continue to disregard David's feelings, if you continue to deny reality, I'm afraid you'll never see your son again. Pardon me? Not see my son? Not see my David ever again? There is nothing further for me to say to you, so maybe we can cut it short. What do you say? Goodbye. Wait, Anne, don't cut me off. What do you mean I won't ever see my son again? Don't you dare cut me off, Anne! You'll regret this, Anne! No matter what we said, no matter how we tried to explain it to her, she just could not accept the fact that David was sick and tired of her abnormal devotion and love for him. Maybe her love for her son is so strong nothing will convince her otherwise. David tried various ways to make his mother understand his feelings, to no avail. He came to me and his father for advice after countless attempts to reconcile with his mother. She was his mother, after all, and he wanted to settle the matter without breaking up the family. After his parents finally divorced, he sighed with relief, saying to me one night at the dinner table, "It's finally over." He finally seemed at peace with himself. My father-in-law was much the same way, apologizing for making us wait for so long. Maybe if he had had the courage to divorce her 10 years ago, all this might never have transpired. And I would not have endured such anguish. And what happened to Caroline, my former mother-in-law, you ask? I heard this from a friend of mine, and I would take it with a grain of salt. But apparently, she found a young man that looks strikingly like David. I heard she used up all the money she received from her divorce and used it all on this guy. Last I heard, she was deep in debt. She completely disregarded warnings from her friends and neighbors and couldn't stop sinking money into this guy. She's always had a bullheadedness about her. Once she latches onto something, she won't let it go. Maybe that's why she ended up losing everything she cared for. But will I reach out to help her? I'm sorry, but no thanks. I don't think she would even accept my help.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.
Jenny, you have stayed inside your house for a long time recently, haven't you?
Good morning, Patty. Recently, my company has been pushing for us to work from home, and so for a while now I've been working from within our office in the house. However, I'm still going into the office a few times every month for meetings and special projects.
Is that so? So the company you're working for has started to implement a system such as that for all its employees? Well, if that's the case, then you get out of my son's house right now.
Huh?
And by saying that, of course what I mean by that is I want you to divorce my son and leave.
How does me working remotely for my job happen to lead into you wanting me to leave your son?
Well, Jenny, the way that leads into you leaving my son is that I know about how you use that excuse of working remotely as a way to never get any of the chores there done.
Well, the only thing that's changed is that I'm working from my office here at home, but everything besides that has been the same since I've been married to your son.
And I bet the only reason they're having you work from home now is because they have no further use for you, and it'll only be a matter of time before they fire you, right? I mean, I don't blame them considering you were raised in a foster home all your life. How could a parentless child like you amount to anything in that company?
Patty, I think it's better that you refrain from talking about me like that from now on.
Excuse me?
I'm sure that there are people who were raised in foster homes that had a hard time living in this world after being forced out into society. But there are also people like my older friend that I grew up with in that foster home who is now the CEO of a $15 million company. And I also have friends from that foster home who are not lawyers and doctors. And most of them even have a happy family now, with a loving wife or husband and children around them. So please stop trying to say that all foster kids have ended up troubled and without any use to this world.
Right now, I'm not talking about all those other idiots. I'm talking about you, Jenny, and how within the company you are working for, you are the least dependable and will soon be fired because of it. And unfortunately, you found some way to get my son to marry you, and he's now stuck with someone who slacks off from their most important duties. I'm sure that you only married him for his family's money, right? I really would love to have you divorced from him sooner rather than later.
I'd like to get back to my work here soon, so...
But I'll have to wait a little longer for that, I'm sure. At least do this one thing for me by the end of today. That's leaving my son's house. And then from there, I'd like you to start working on divorcing him and being gone from his life forever. My son is my only boy in the family, and I need to make sure that he marries someone far more amazing than you. So, you need to get lost soon.
I'm getting back to work. Goodbye.
Jenny, are you home right now? You should be home working all day today, right?
Oh, I'm still at home getting some work done, George. But I'm on a small lunch break now, so we can chat for a little while.
Is that so? Well, I wanted to ask, if I came back home now, would I be bothering you while you work?
What's happened? Do you have to leave work early? Did you come down with something today that's forcing you to leave work?
Wait, this isn't about me coming down with anything today. My manager came up to me today saying that I haven't been using a lot of my time off this year and that it would benefit both me and the company to use it up before the next year begins. And since starting next week, I have more projects that I need to start, we both agreed that today I could use the afternoon off, fully paid, to head home early and use up the time off. I'll be getting tomorrow off as well, fully paid.
Is that so? Well, I'm fine with you coming home now, so don't worry about me and get your butt home.
All right, thank you.
What do you want to do about lunch?
I was just thinking that I'd buy something on the way home to eat. I'd like you to continue working on your work without having to get up to make me anything.
All right.
By the way, did my mom end up saying anything to you today?
Huh?
I'm talking about how she always seems to pick on you.
Right. Today she seemed to be in even more of a fighting mood than times before.
She really never seems to care enough when I tell her to stop messing with you, and that was probably getting in the way of you getting work done. I'm sorry, Jenny. She has to realize that what she's doing to you is not acceptable, right?
You don't have to apologize for her actions. And besides, I'm doing all right after our little chat today.
But even still, it's getting close to 3 months now. There's no denying that she's causing you a lot of stress by messing with you all the time, and that it's only getting worse as time goes on, right?
I'm fine. Well, that's what I'd like to say, but really, her treating me so poorly has started to cause some issues with me and my job.
At this point, we've really got to start thinking of a way to get her out of your hair for good. My bus is here. When I get home today, make sure to show me all the texts my mom sent to you.
Sure, will do.
If I'm able to change transfer buses quick enough at the station, I should be home in about an hour.
Okay. Have a safe return home today.
I'll do my best. See you this afternoon then.
You freaking useless dog. I just passed by your house a couple of seconds ago, and I saw that you're still sitting in there on your computer. I could have sworn that I told you earlier today to get the hell out of that house, right?
I'm in the middle of work right now.
Your company is getting ready to fire you, so you have no reason to talk to me about getting any actual work done. And I know for a fact that you're only using that title of being a remote worker as a way to slack off. Seriously, you are a freaking waste of my son's time. Not only do you have zero common sense, but you can't even do your job well enough to stay within that mediocre company. George has been saying to me that I need to treat you with the respect he thinks you deserve, but I'm not buying it. All you've done is brainwashed him into thinking that you're worth something, and that's how you got him to marry you. Well, it's not going to happen any longer. Divorce my son right now.
Patty, I've noticed you always happen to text me around this time every weekday, right?
And so what?
Could this mean that you choose to talk to me only during this time every day because you expect that your son is at work and can't do anything to stop you?
Well, you might be onto something there. Actually, you are 100% correct about that. But this is all for the sake of my son. I have to protect him from you, and that means waiting for him to be busy with his work to start my plans of attack and making sure you go away. Having to think that such a useless dog is my son's wife. I am not the kind of mother that is going to let you continue taking advantage of my son, all in order to get my family's money.
Are you finished saying everything you've wanted to tell me?
Oh, I have so much more that I'd like to say to you. I'm going to keep tearing into you until you leave my son and run away from me.
So you're going to continue with this even though your son is sitting right next to me now?
Huh?
This all happened just a little bit ago, but he was allowed to take the rest of today and tomorrow off from work, and he only arrived home just a few minutes ago.
So you're telling me that George is there with you right now?
Yep.
And he's sitting with you looking at all the things I've said to you?
Yep. And I really need to end things here so that I can get back to my work. So from now on, you're going to have to go through him if you have anything else to say to me today. Now I'll be going.
Well, if that's the case, then that's completely fine with me. Really, I didn't want for him to have to see everything I'd said to you today. But if he's seen everything already, then that makes my job of explaining things to him a whole lot smoother.
Mom?
George, come on now. If you were finally going to take the chance to get a day off work, you should have come back home to me to hang out for a little while. I'm sure that it's pretty boring having to hang around that house all day with a useless dog like her, right? That's right. How about tonight you and I go out for some steaks? And I'll make sure to get us a reservation at one of those high-end steakhouses. It's been almost 5 years now since your father passed away, so it'll be nice to have a steak again since we haven't eaten steak together since that day.
I'm sorry, Mom, but I'm not in the mood to go out for a steak tonight. I'm actually quite pissed at you.
Huh?
Stop trying to act like what you've been doing is okay.
George, what's happened to you?
When did I ever say that I wanted to get a divorce from Jenny? And the fact that you've been speaking so poorly of your own son's wife is good reason for me to want to punch you in the face right now. Did you actually think that I'd let you continue with that crap without stepping in?
What are you talking about? Come on now. Talk about what's all going on right now very carefully. You are a graduate from a very highly sought-after university, and you are on the path to becoming an elite in the working world. But unlike you, your wife right now is nothing more than a lost cause from a foster home who does nothing but work as an office lady. No matter how hard you try to make it look possible, the two of you are not meant to be married.
Mom, did we not tell you this yet? Jenny is from the same university as I am.
Huh?
And not only that, but she was able to get into that university with the full ride scholarship. And as for what she does for work right now, let's just say that the company isn't as well known as the one I'm working for, but her income is higher than mine.
Huh? That useless dog. How the hell does she... You guys can't just hide things like that from me. Especially when it's been so long since you both got married and she became a part of my family.
You can act like we were trying to hide this from me all you want. But her and I graduated in the same class, and we can show you proof that she's in fact better than me in some ways. Heck, I'd even be willing to show you our pay stubs, so you can see with your own very eyes that we aren't playing.
Are you serious? You're telling me that that parentless foster child...
We have told you plenty of times before that it's not okay to judge someone just based off their past life when they were a child. If you understand everything I've told you, I'd like for you to apologize to Jenny when she's done with work today, and it better come from your heart.
Jenny, I'm assuming that you're finished with work by now?
That's right. I just finished up and turned off my computer a second ago.
I heard a lot of things from George earlier today, just after lunch. So you actually did end up graduating from university after all. And not just from any university, but from the same one as George? Why were you hiding all of that from me?
What?
All of that information would have been really helpful to me had you told me a lot sooner. Especially since without that very important piece of information, all you are is a useless foster child that is about to be fired from a company that has no use for her. I needed to know that you were a university graduate because that would have changed the way I spoke to you before.
Did I not tell you all about my education back when I first met you in person? I explained that we met each other because we went to the same university together, and that's why we're together now.
Huh? You mentioned that to me before?
Well, I can see that even if you did know about that before, somewhere along the way you got confused and started to think differently about me.
That's right. But even if you came from the same university as my son, there are still plenty of other things wrong with you. You still ended up growing up with no parents and in a foster home. So, to make up for you having that unfortunate part of your past haunting my family, I'd like for you to start paying me $1,000 every month.
$1,000?
If you are able to promise me that you'll send me $1,000 a month for the rest of my life, then I'll allow you to stay married to George.
Really?
I know about how you're making more money than my son is right now. Allow me to be frank about this. A woman that makes more than her husband is not viewed as a good thing in this world. But if I were to ask you to quit your job right now, George would keep coming after me, saying I'm bullying you or something, right? So to make it seem as though you're not making as much money as you say, I'd like you to pay me $1,000 a month, and I'll promise to leave you alone.
What?
However, in order for me to keep my end of the promise, you have to promise that you'll never tell my son about any of this deal we'll make. So if you'd like to continue to be the wife of my elite son, you listen to everything I've just said and do it. That should be okay with you, right? Pick up the dang phone, Ginny. I've noticed that you still haven't put that $1,000 into my account. And so I came all the way to your place to tell you to your face to give me that money. But why is there a lock on the door and a sign saying the place is for sale?
That's because after moving out of that house, the realtor has come to start cleaning the place up a bit more to start showcasing it to people looking into the place.
You guys moved out? Why did you move?
If you don't know what the reason is for that yet, try asking your son. Goodbye.
George, why the hell did you move out of that place? You haven't even told me the new address that you guys have.
That's because I've cut ties to you, Mom.
Huh?
Did I not tell you about a month ago to apologize to my wife when we last spoke about what you did to her? Because looking back into our text history, I did say that, and you replied to me meaning that you read that text. But for some unknown reason to me, you going to apologize to her, turning into you threatening her to pay you $1,000 a month.
Wait, did that witch talk to you about all of that? I told her to keep her mouth shut about it so as part of the deal. Her not even being able to uphold that end of the promise is why foster children like her are useless.
The reason why I know about what you said to her is because as she was texting you then, I was looking over her shoulder.
Huh?
And when she finished texting you, she turned to me and I told her that it was over. That from now on, her and I would no longer be a part of your family.
That's...
And I'll leave you with this as a warning. Trying to come and find us at our offices isn't going to be possible for you. I told my boss about the current situation, and he was kind enough to allow me to move to a different office away from you. And the same thing goes for Jenny and her job. Well, it's not like her office mattered to you, though, because you never even knew where she was working in the first place, or what company she worked for.
Wait, what am I going to do now, though?
I don't care.
What?
For the past 2 years now, you've been getting Social Security, right? And you've been working part-time for a while now as well, right? There's also that money left over from Dad that you said you'd never touch after he passed away.
Well, about that last part.
So you should be all right then, right? Now, goodbye, forever.
Wait a moment, George. I quit that part-time job. And as for all that money your dad left for me, I've used it all up.
When talking about that last part, where Patty told her son that she had quit her job and was without any more money, that really surprised the both of us. Considering that after her husband passed, she should have been left with around $80,000 and still be receiving a decent Social Security. George and I just looked at each other after reading that and sighed. Apparently, she had spent all of that money without putting much thought into what to do after it was gone, besides hoping that she could rely on her son to support her. But when she found out how much I was making, decided that it'd be better to just have me pay her a little each month in return for not bullying me anymore. After both George and I had agreed that we'd cut ties with her and never see her again, we made sure to explain to all of his family before telling her. And since they all agreed that what we were doing was necessary, they told us that they'd figure out something for her since she no longer had enough money to support herself. In other words, that meant them all introducing her to a job working on a production line. So as of right now, she's out there working every day within that factory, making minimum wage that is barely enough to keep her in her house and keep all the lights on there. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.